No one likes to talk taxes, but they are a big component of life. From a real estate perspective, they are also one of the most common questions your clients will ask. What are the property taxes? What am I paying for with these taxes? Let's break down some basics to get started. Over the next few lessons, we'll cover the most important aspects of property taxes. This includes why we pay taxes, what assessed values are, and how property taxes are calculated. It's also going to be important for you to understand protesting assessments, when a property owner doesn't agree with taxes, along with special assessment taxes and tax liens. Each of these areas relates directly back to your business. You'll need to understand taxes on all aspects of property to be able to educate your would-be buyer. Let's break this down then. What are property taxes then? Local governments apply property taxes on real estate. The property owner must pay those taxes, or if he or she fails to do so, the government can levy fines, liens, or even force the sale of the property to recoup the losses. Generally speaking, property taxes are always based on the value of the property. This includes the structure as well as the land it sits on. So, how are property taxes calculated? Local governments calculate property tax rates based on laws in the region. Property taxes are dependent on county-based laws in the state. For example, the tax rate in one county can be significantly different than that in another. How much is charged to each property owner is specific to the laws within that state. Because these taxes are so individualized between counties, it's hard to pinpoint how much any given homeowner will pay. Not only is the location a factor, but there's also a consideration of value. The more valuable the home is, the more taxes the property owner pays on it. Most county tax laws specifically state how much is levied on the property per $1,000 worth of value. A tax rate is set through the laws within the community. This is then multiplied by the assessed value of the property. This tax rate is refigured each year based on the budget needs of the community. Property taxes are levied on only real property in most states. This includes the land itself as well as the structured and fixed buildings on it. It does not take into account any personal property owned or maintained at the property. What's the purpose of property taxes? Why do we collect these taxes in the first place? It's simple. Without taxes on property like this, there would be a limited amount of money to use to maintain the city or county. As we noted earlier, the counties create tax rates based on laws within those communities. In some areas, what property taxes pay for will differ compared to other regions. Most often, though, property taxes pay for the most important infrastructure needs within a community. This includes providing for the maintenance of water and sewer lines. It may include roadways. In most cases, it includes fire services as well as law enforcement. Though cities may also fund these organizations through separate taxes, most of this money pays for the community's needs. This can also include public servants. Education often relies on these funds as well. It can also include any construction within the city done for the community, such as the building or management of parks. In our communities, property taxes are the most important source of revenue of local governments as well as schools. They also pay for all other municipal services. When your client asks you about the benefit of paying property taxes, discuss just how valuable these funds are to their safety and quality of life. Who can require property taxes? State and county laws establish property taxes. They can also be levied in emergency situations if state laws allow for it. Most property taxes are a combined figure that represents city taxes, county taxes, and local school district funding. A specific homeowner must contribute to all applicable property taxes based on the location of his or her home. For example, if the home sits in a specific school district, the property owner will pay taxes for that school district, even if he or she doesn't have a child in school. Most commonly, taxes are specific to the parcel of land, not to the homeowner's use of that property. From a property buyer's point of view, all property taxes should be clearly communicated within the transaction. This information is provided in a listing, but needs to be verified before the sale. Are all properties taxed? Or what properties are commonly taxed like this? State and county laws determine property types. In most states, property taxes apply to most real estate in the community. This includes all residential property, including farms and undeveloped areas that are owned by citizens. It also applies to most commercial property, including your retail establishments, industrial buildings, and office spaces. Any type of income-earning property is going to have a property tax associated with it. What properties are generally exempt from paying property tax? There are some types of property exempt from property tax in most states. The rules for this change in some communities. However, most often, it is the property that isn't for profit or otherwise privately owned. For example, there is no benefit to taxing government or city-owned property, such as the courthouse or administration buildings. There is also no benefit to taxing educational buildings in the community. However, if the educational institution is a for-profit organization or one operating out of a leased space, that space can still be taxed. Most of the time, nonprofit organizations and charitable organizations also do not pay property tax. Religious organizations do not pay property tax on their real estate either. To qualify for this type of exemption, most counties and cities require the property owners to file for a nonprofit or religious status.